At 7:12 in the morning, under a sun bright enough to bleach the rooftops white, Mara Vale stepped onto her balcony and saw nothing at her feet.
No shadow?
None. The railing cast black bars across the tiles. The laundry line drew a thin, dark wire. Even the teacup beside her hand had a small trembling oval beneath it. But Mara, standing in the middle of all that honest light, left no mark at all.
In any other city, that might be strange. In hers, it was impossible.
Because in Lumen, shadows did not simply copy bodies. They confessed. A nervous man's shadow might wring its hands while he smiled. A jealous woman's shadow might lean toward a lover's pocket. Children's shadows skipped ahead when they were happy, and dragged behind when they were afraid.
So everyone could see what everyone felt?
Not clearly, not in words, but enough. Enough for merchants to refuse customers whose shadows had claws. Enough for weddings to pause when one bride's shadow reached for the door. Enough for apologies to matter only when the shadow bowed too.
And Mara had nothing to confess.
That was the first thought. Then came the second, sharper one. If a shadow showed the truth of the heart, what did it mean to have no shadow at all?
People must have noticed.
By 8 o'clock, the baker had stopped kneading. By 8:15, the tram conductor forgot to ring the bell. By 9, children were following Mara at a careful distance, watching the pavement beneath her shoes remain clean and golden.
Was she frightened?
She told people she was calm. In Lumen, that sentence was usually useless. A shadow would betray the speaker instantly. But Mara had no witness attached to her heels. For the first time in her life, she could say anything, and the city had to wonder.
That sounds like freedom.
It did, for 1 hour. She bought peaches without the vendor seeing whether she was lonely. She passed the house of her former lover without the street learning whether she still missed him. She stood before the courthouse and lied, softly, just to fill the silence after it.
Then why does that feel like the beginning of a disaster?
Because at noon, the shadows of everyone around her began turning toward her. Not the people, the shadows. Thin, fat, child-sized, crooked, elegant, frightened things stretching across stones and walls, all pointing at Mara like compass needles.
As if they recognized something.
Or as if they wanted something back. That was when an old lamplighter, retired long after electricity made his work ceremonial, pushed through the crowd and asked Mara a question no one else had thought to ask.
What did you feel before it disappeared?
Mara almost answered too quickly. Nothing. Then she remembered the night before. Rain on the window, a letter unopened on the table, her mother's handwriting. The anniversary of a death she had spent 10 years, turning into errands, schedules, tidy rooms, and polite conversation.
She had hidden her grief.
More than hidden it. She had trained it not to move. In Lumen, people learned young how to manage the body, but not the shadow. Mara had done the impossible. She had taught her shadow to be still until, at last, it left.
So the city's magic had a cost.
Yes. Lumen believed the shadows made people honest. But honesty had become a performance too. People curated sorrow, softened rage, displayed just enough guilt to be forgiven. The shadows revealed emotion. But the city punished emotion so often that everyone became an artist of concealment.
And Mara was simply the first to vanish from herself.
The lamplighter led her to the old square, where the sun struck straight down, and even proud statues had small dark wounds beneath them. He told her not to search for her shadow on the ground.
Where else could it be?
In the last place she had refused to look. Mara took the unopened letter from her coat. Her hands shook. Around her, the watching shadows trembled too. She broke the seal and read only 3 lines before she began to cry.
And then?
At first, nothing. Then a small darkness gathered beneath her left heel, thin as ink dropped into water. It did not look like Mara. It looked bent, exhausted, furious, relieved. It reached for the letter. It reached for her.
Did the city understand?
Not all at once. Cities rarely do. But that afternoon, people began looking down differently. Not to judge what their shadows revealed, but to ask what they had forced them to carry.
And Mara?
Mara walked home at sunset with a shadow longer than any in Lumen. It staggered, it stretched. It sometimes pulled away from her, and sometimes clung close. But when she reached her balcony, under a sky the colour of cooling embers, she did not try to make it behave.
So the mystery was never why she had no shadow.
No. The real mystery was how many people still had theirs, and how long they had been begging, silently, to be seen.